I was trying so hard not to show him what I felt. I tried to look cheerful when we got off the train and when he bought the wagon. But now I was really frightened. What were we doing here? A clerk and his wife in their city clothes.
Hey, hey! Whoa! Oh! Ah! Good morning.
Morning!
Whoa, whoa. Sure glad we ran into you people. We're clean out of water. Could you spare some?
Yes. Yes, of course.
Thanks. We'd appreciate that. Name's Dodds. Harvey Dodds.
I'm Dan Greer. My wife, Elizabeth.
Hello, ma'am.
How do you do?
Sure you can spare it?
Yes, I'll get you some. Sure is hot.
Gets hotter. Going to homestead, eh?
Yeah, that's right.
Where are you from?
Montreal. I just got back from overseas. I was in the army.
Boer War vet, eh?
Yep. I stayed in for a while afterwards. I wanted to save enough money to buy all this.
Ever done any farming?
Nope.
That's enough. Well, take my word for it, mister. You're making a mistake of your life. You'd be doing yourself a favor if you turned around your wagon and go right back where you came from.
There aren't many places where a man can find free land. Land like this.
No. The land's free, all right. So are a lot of other things you didn't bargain for. Did you hear about the winter we had out here this last year?
Yeah, pretty bad, I heard.
Bad. Don't you believe it, mister. I've never seen anything like it. Lost my whole herd of sheep. Froze, standing on their feet. Thousands of cattle froze solid against the fences. I swear to God, this is no country for a white man. When you're not freezing to death, you're praying for rain. Well, I've had enough of it. I'm going to show this whole darn prairie my backside once and for all.
Where will you go?
Back to Minnesota. Try and scratch some kind of living. I guess we didn't realize how lucky we were. What's your name, son?
Colin. That's Russell.
Our boy's name was Theo. Just passed his 4th birthday. We lost him last winter. Pneumonia. Well, I guess I'd better get going. Oh. Thanks for the water. Good luck to you.
We wish you the same.
Bye.
I think I'll walk for a while. Stretch my legs.
Help me down, Dan. I'll walk with you a little. Those poor people. Did you see their faces?
They had bad luck, that's all. Besides, he was a sheep farmer.
Their little boy would probably be alive today if they hadn't come out here.
Now, Liza, we don't know that for sure.
Daniel, if anything happens to our boys...
Now, Liza, stop worrying. I know how the country must seem to you now. Empty, unfriendly. But we'll find friends here. You'll see.
Dan, you're a dreamer. You saw those people this afternoon. They were farmers, and they were beaten by this country. What chance have we got?
Liza, this is a chance to be something more than a second-grade clerk.
And what about the children? You can't just think of yourself, Dan.
I'm not. There's opportunity for the children here, too. Won't be easy. I never said it would be. But at least we'll be on our own.
Dan, I came out here with you because I love you. I didn't want to come. And now that we're out here, I hate it. We'd better get some sleep.
Where are you going, Daddy?
You stay there, son.
Yippee! We're here! This is our farm! Yahoo! Well, Colin, what do you think of it?
I don't see any farm. Just those prairies.
Well, that's because you don't know how to look. Come on, Russell. Let's take a look at the Greer farm. The biggest and the best farm in all Saskatchewan. Come on. Right there. That's the house. 2 stories high. Painted white. Frame house. And, over here. Right here's the barn. The pig pen. And, all around. Big trees to keep the wind out. And, yeah. Over there. Come on. Come on. Your mother's garden's right there. Well, what do you think of it?
I don't see any farm. Do you, Mommy?
No, I don't, Colin. But your father does, and I guess that's all that matters. I wanted to share his joy, but how could I? How could this ever be home to me? We just didn't belong here. We were meant to live where there were people, where there were streets and trees and schools. Here there was nothing, just that little stake in the ground.
Mommy, Daddy.
All right, boys, all right.
Hello there.
Hello.
Whoa. My name's Bob McPherson.
I'm Daniel Greer.
How are you?
Very well. This is my wife, Elizabeth.
How do you do, Mr. McPherson?
It's a pleasure, Mrs. Greer. We can use another pretty woman out here.
Oh, thank you.
I was just driving into town. I saw your outfit. Anything I can do to help?
Oh, that's very kind of you.
Oh, not at all. In this country, it's important to know your neighbors. You need each other.
Is your farm near here, then, Mr. McPherson?
Well, it's near as things are measured on the prairies. My place is about, 8-10 miles north of here.
From what I've heard, that's practically next door.
Yeah, you're right. Have you done any farming before?
No, I haven't.
No, I didn't think so.
We didn't think it showed that much.
Don't worry. We'll soon make proper drylanders of you.
Drylanders?
Well, that's what they call us, because that's what we found, dry land. Well, now, the first thing we've got to do is get you people a roof over your heads.
Yes, well, we were thinking of putting up a sod hut.
Oh, that's a good idea. A lot of us lived in soddies when we first came out here. You could probably build one anywhere around here. Let's see now. Oh, good. That'll hold together fine. Yes, I'll bring a few of the boys over tomorrow. We'll have that up in no time.
What are you doing?
I thought you might like the vase out.
No. That vase stays right where it is until we have a decent home again.
That's what you want.
Daniel, I'm sorry. But I can't help the way I feel.
I know.
It's the only beautiful thing we brought with us. It was as though I couldn't stop hurting him those days. Little things I said and did that seemed to make him feel that he'd failed. And yet he had hardly started.
Ho, ho!
Sure is a crooked furrow, isn't it, Daddy?
It certainly is. Colin, would you like to help?
Yes, Daddy.
All right, well, now you run up ahead. Keep on running till I tell you to stop. That's a boy. Now, Russell, you keep back there. That's fine, Colin. Stand there and wait for us.
All right, Daddy.
Here we go. Get up now! Get up now!
Oh. Liza.
Oh, Dan.
No. I'm all right.
You're not all right. You're exhausted.
I'm just a little tired, that's all.
It isn't worth it, Dan. You're killing yourself. Please.
What do you want me to do?
I want us to go home. Please, Dan, it's no disgrace to have made a mistake.
Liza, don't be foolish. We can't go home now.
We don't belong here, Dan. This isn't our place.
I don't want to hear any more about it.
All right, Dan. I won't mention it again.
Liza, I've got something to show you. Well, come on. Come on.
Can I too, Daddy?
Yes, certainly. Come on, you two, Russell. Come on, boys. Come on.
What is it?
Look, boys. Look, Russell.
It looks like grass.
No, it's wheat. Look,
How long will it take to get big?
get big. Well, I think we ought to be able to cut it in about 3 months. Look at it, Liza.
What do they call it?
You should get yourself one of those water wizards, Holly. He'd find that water for you in 2 minutes with a forked stick.
Hello, Mrs. Greer. You must be getting hungry. Well, we're going to eat in a minute. Are you enjoying yourself?
Oh, yes, very much.
Oh, good. Do you mind if I sit down with you for a bit?
No, not at all.
Oh, right. Oh, no, don't move. There. Oh, dear, that's better. I don't mind telling you I'm just about worn out. Still, it's nice to see people, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it is.
Well, how are you enjoying the prairies?
Oh, well, I guess I'll get used to it in time. It's very different from the city. To tell you the truth, I find it awfully lonely.
Oh, it's lonely, all right. You know, Mrs. Greer, when my husband first brought me out here 7 years ago, I was completely miserable. I cursed the poor man all my waking hours for bringing me to this God-forsaken place. Scarcely a night went by that I didn't cry myself to sleep. Well, you see, we left a nice little farm in Ontario to come here. Too little, that was the trouble. Bob always had big ideas. So we sold right out and came here to start all over again. Well, you know, it's a funny thing, but this country grows on you. It's so... Oh, I don't know, but it gets so you just can't imagine living anywhere else. I'd never admit this to Bob, but I wouldn't go back now if he begged me. Oh, it's lonely enough at times and nothing sure, but somehow it's worth it. You'll see. Oh, here am I babbling away and my guests are going hungry. Well, I'll see you later.
Who caught her? hold this like this. Hold this. See, and pull the remote like this. Come on, Ethel.
Colin? Colin? What are you doing, dear?
Shh. Agnes is showing us how to get your golf. Now go, Jimmy.
Oh.
Come on, Billy. Come on, Billy. That's not a gopher, it's a porcupine. Watch out for his quills.
Gives a better yield, makes better bread.
Better yield, eh? I'd like to try some.
Well, let you have some seed, Daniel. You can try it next year. Ah, Mrs. Greer, I was just showing your husband what a good crop looks like.
Is it always like this, Mr. McPherson?
Well, if you give the land a chance, could it be even better? They say a really bumper crop will hold up your hat. Let's try this. Well, maybe next year.
Hinges are of leather, and the windows have no pane, and the board roof lets the howling blizzards in. And I hear the hungry coyote as he slinks up through the grass, round my little old sod shanty on my glen.
That night, for the first time in all those weeks, I understood why he was happy out here and what he hoped for. And I knew I was starting to share it with him. For the first time, I felt at home, almost at home.
Just in time. It started to rain.
I hope no one was caught out in it.
They should be all right. We were the last to leave.
The children were worn out. Little Russell could hardly keep his eyes open while I was undressing him. Mrs. McPherson is a nice woman, isn't she?
Yes. Yes, they're very good neighbors.
It was so sudden and so brutal. The hail had cut down the tender young wheat. As I walked with him, I could only think of how his back had ached and how his hands had blistered on the plow, all in vain. Dan's first crop was lost. Now there was nothing he could do but wait for spring, for planting time once again. And first, the winter had to pass. In all that snow, our little hut seemed lonelier than ever. What would we do if anything happened? And something did happen. One cold, bitter day, we ran out of food. Dan had to go to the McPhersons.
The next time you run short, don't wait till you're near starving.
No.
Oh, don't worry, I won't. And I'll get those things back to you as soon as I get into town.
There's no hurry. We have plenty.
You better stay here tonight, Daniel. You'll not get back before dark now.
Oh, I'll be all right, Bob. Besides, I expect Elizabeth is worried about me already.
Well, just as you wish.
Ah,
Give our best to Elizabeth and the boys.
Aye, well, goodbye, Daniel.
goodbye and thank you.
All right, now it's your turn.
I spy with my little eye something that begins with T.
Is it made of wood?
No,
Oh, I know. Is it made of cloth?
no.
No?
Has it got glass and tin? No.
Oh, dear. I give up.
Tea kettle.
Oh, tea kettle, of course. Now, let's see. I spy with my little eye something that begins with C, and it's medium large and has a lot of freckles.
Gone.
All right, now it's your turn again.
At last he had just enough leather left to make one pair of shoes. In the evening, he cut out the leather to make the shoes the next day. Mummy, when's Daddy coming home?
Soon, dear, soon. Go on with your reading.
He rose early and went to his bench. But what did he see? There stood the shoes.
How much could a man stand? This country was killing him. How could it ever be our home? All the old thoughts came back to me that night in my panic. And yet, soon they were gone again. Spring had come, and a new life began for us. It was the turning point. Dan was really becoming a farmer. The plow was becoming part of him. And late that summer, he could see the fruits of his work. I was as proud of it as he was, this good, tall wheat. It was our first harvest. For Dan, it meant more hard work. But as the years passed, with machines to help him, it became a bit easier. Dan had been right. Within 7 years, we had become prosperous. Even a car, so much better than being a clerk in the city. But then... the war years went slowly for us. Colin was away fighting in France, and we kept thinking about him all the time. Then one day, it was all over, and Colin came back. He was fine. The land continued to be kind to us, with a good crop almost every year. But one year was very special. In 1922, right after the harvest, Colin married Thora Anderson. Our 2 boys had grown up to be fine young men. Colin was tall and strong and had become a first-rate farmer. We were proud of Russell, too, just turned 20. He was the mechanical wizard. He knew everything there was to know about the machines that we were using more and more on the farm. There seemed to be no end to God's bounty. In 1924, Daniel Jr. was born to Colin and Thora, their first child, and our first grandchild. There was a bright future for him, for our farm was getting bigger. We were buying more land. Then came the year none of us would ever forget, 1928, the biggest harvest ever. It was like mining gold.
All right, Scotty, settle down. Dinner! Dinner! Dinner!
I'll go and see how they're doing in the kitchen.
Yes, Mrs. Greer.
Connie, when you finish that, could you start the coffee for me? Here they are.
You want a bathtub?
You don't need a bath.
You need a bath.
She's all yours, boy.
Let's see what your mom's got for dinner.
Hey?
Oh, boy, look at this.
Colin, I just threw him out of here.
Well, we're big, hungry men, aren't we, Dan? Give your mom a hug.
Oh, wait, I'm busy.
Ah, here's my big girl. Hi, hello, honey. Do you think we can make a wheat farmer out of her, Dan?
Did you finish the wheat?
Yeah, we're all finished now. We're going into the oats this afternoon. Gee, I'm starved.
Excuse me, Colin.
Can we give you a hand, Mom?
Sorry, dear. You can give me a hand. Get out of the kitchen.
Looks like nobody wants us, Dan.
See old Jim down there? Did you see him this morning? Well, you couldn't see him. He was hid behind the stoop all morning. Never mind, old Jim. Hi, John. Where you been? Resting this morning. You should be all right for the rest of the day.
Excuse me.
Yeah, can I have oh, boy, right here. Thank you. Always been wicked.
Potatoes? Have a few spares over there.
Yeah, all right, I'll go over after supper. Ah, it's raining.
Oh, Russell. Great you. When do you think you'll be finished?
I think by tomorrow night.
What's the yield?
Maybe, what do you think, son?
40.
That's better than we expected, isn't it?
I'm going over to make fursons tonight, right after supper. Is there anything I can do for you, Mom?
You can take those preserves over to Ada, if you would.
Huh?
Hey, don't give those things away.
Oh, that's all right, Dad. I'll go and eat them right now.
You see, they get to Ada. It was such a fine, proud moment for Dan. His dream of 21 years before had come true. And yet all this would soon be over. During the drought of 29, we kept saying, never mind, wait till next year. But again, we were disappointed. 1930 brought nothing but more clouds of bitter dust. There had been dry spells before, but nothing like this. It just went on and on. There was some rain, but never enough, and never at the right time. The whole land seemed to be blowing away, and with it the good life we had struggled for.
Let us pray.
Oh, goodbye, Reverend. That was a nice sermon.
I hope I didn't keep you awake, Bob.
Well, not so much that you'd notice. Don't forget to remind them in head office that we need some rain round here.
I'll do my best.
Yeah, maybe the wires are down, eh?
I hope and pray not, Bob. Bye, Mrs. McPherson.
Goodbye, Reverend, and thank you. Bob, wait a minute. I want to speak to Elizabeth.
Thank you, Reverend.
Mrs. Greer. It's nice to see you and your family, Dan. You haven't been to too many services lately.
Doesn't seem to make much difference, does it?
I can understand how he feels, Mrs. Greer, but still you mustn't give up hope.
Trouble with hope, Reverend, is that it has to be fed.
The drought can't go on forever.
Neither can people, Reverend. Neither can people. Now, don't forget, you're coming over for dinner with us on Wednesday.
No, we won't forget.
Well, it won't be much, I'm warning you. Still, it's nice to have company.
You better come early, Daniel. I want some work out of you before you eat. I need a hand to fix the roof on my barn.
Yes. Yes, we'll be there.
Don't like the look of him lately, Elizabeth. Is anything wrong?
Nothing more than is wrong with all of us, Bob.
I'll have dinner ready in just a minute.
I'll help you, Mother.
While you're all here, there's something I want to say to you. I'm going to leave the farm. There's no use my staying here anymore. It's just another mouth to share what little there is.
What do you have in mind, Russ?
Oh, I don't know. I'll get a job, I guess. I haven't made any plans yet.
Things are worse in the cities. All the papers say so.
Well, whatever chance I've got, it's better than I've got here.
But you're a farmer, Russ.
I'm sorry, Mom. You know I wouldn't leave if there was any other way. But it's no use. This country won't grow another crop till kingdom come. And there aren't any farms anymore, or any farmers either. All this land can raise now is dust.
When were you thinking of leaving, Russ?
As soon as possible.
It was pitiful to see them, looking up into the sky day after day, looking for some small sign of hope. But the sun's answer was always no. It burned on and on, parching the land, and it drove us to humiliation at the relief depot.
Look, Pa, you don't have to wait in line. I can pick up the supplies.
I'm all right.
All right, next. Hey, you, wake up! What's the matter with you?
Are you talking to me?
Who do you think I'm talking to? You want your supplies, don't you?
Yes. I'm sorry.
Name?
Colin Greer.
Where do you farm?
About 15 miles east.
How many in your family?
6.
How many cows?
1.
Did you take off any crop this year?
Mom, where are you?
I'm in here, dear.
Got a letter for you from Russell.
It says, Dear Mother, I arrived in Regina about 2 weeks ago, but there wasn't much doing there. I hung around for a few days and then decided to move on to Winnipeg. But things are just as bad here, and I haven't been able to find a job. I think the time has now come to move east again. Dear Mother, as yet I've been unable to find a job, but I'm not discouraged. The thing to do is to keep moving and keep looking. I must say I've been doing a lot of that, and I've been seeing the country and learning a lot about life in the cities. Dear Mother, still no luck. Sometimes it seems that the whole country is closing down. I'm still trying, but I'm beginning to think that nobody has a job for a farm boy. I do hope things will soon get better on the farm, Mother. Please give my love to Dad and to Colin and Thora and the children. Meanwhile, don't worry about me. I'll be all right. Your loving son, Russell.
Well, we're off.
Do you have to go, Bob?
I know when I'm licked, Elizabeth. What happened to everything, Bob? We had it here. I don't know, Daniel. I wish I did.
We'll write you as soon as we get to Peace River. Well, now, you'd better.
Wish you folk were coming with us. I hate to think of you trying to manage without us, a couple of
helpless city slickers like yourselves.
Won't be the same. But won't you change your minds and come with us? Everything we have is right here.
You're really leaving. It's hard to believe.
Hardly believe it myself, Colin.
Good luck. Well, say goodbye to the kids for us.
Goodbye, Colin.
Bye.
Thora.
Goodbye.
Well, old-timer. Look after yourself.
Goodbye, Bob.
You look after him, you hear?
Goodbye to dear Bob and Ada. We'd never have better friends, and we knew we'd probably never see them again. Part of our life was leaving with them. They weren't the only ones to leave. One by one, other families pulled out. The Sawchucks, the Campbells, Tim and Sally Calhoun. After a few years, it was as though we were living alone in a haunted desert. By 1938, Dan was a beaten man. It broke my heart to see what these 9 years had done to him. He had retreated into himself, and for days he wouldn't talk. He just wandered around, trying to understand why the prairie had betrayed him. The prairie that once was so good to us.
Dinner's ready, Mother. I'll wait and have something later with Dad, dear.
Oh, Mom, beans again.
That's right, Dan. Eat up.
Gee whiz.
Eat your dinner, Dan. Put some syrup on it.
Can I have some more milk, Mommy?
What, dear?
Can I have some more milk?
I'm sorry, dear, but there isn't any more. Colin, pour Sigrid some water.
I can't eat this old stuff.
Dan!
I hate it.
That's enough, Dan.
Well, it makes me sick.
Shut up!
Colin!
I'm sick of his complaining. All right, say it.
You shouldn't have hit him, Colin. He doesn't even know what good food tastes like.
I know. I'm sorry.
How long are we going to go on like this, Colin? Colin, look at me. Remember how I looked when we were married?
Oh, Thora.
Do you still find me pretty? Do you? I know what I look like. Dried-out old woman.
I don't know what you expect me to do.
Let's leave. We're still young. We can start in again somewhere. I want to go somewhere where it's clean. Where we go or what we do, if I can feel clean again.
Leave.
If you'd only admit it, Colin, it's what you've been thinking yourself.
We can't leave the farm. It's all we've got.
Got? What have we got? A farm that wouldn't even belong to us if we'd had to pay our back taxes.
I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Colin, if you won't do it for me, do it for Danny and Sigrid. Don't they deserve something better than this? Oh, you're not answering because you know I'm right. You don't want to stay here any more than I do. It's only pride that keeps you here. The great Greer farm has to go on, doesn't it? Well, look at it. Look at your wonderful farm. Why don't you admit that you're beaten? You're beaten, Colin. Admit it. Oh.
Laura.
Colin, come quickly.
Help me get him into the house, Colin.
Laura, get the doctor.
Is there anything?
No. No, the doctor's with him now.
Tea, Colin?
No, no thanks. Mom, I want us to go away from here. All of us. I want us to go somewhere and get a fresh start. Somewhere where they've never even heard of the word drought.
Colin.
Well, what are we trying to prove anyway? Sitting on fields we can't even work? Living on handouts? We've given it 9 years. Let's get out now while there's still time.
Colin, it isn't a question of trying to prove something. It's a question of where you belong. 30 years is a long time. Well, you'll have to do what you think is best, son. But if you go, you'll have to go without your father and me.
Mrs. Greer, would you come up, please? He's failing fast.
Farm. We.
Doctor. Doctor. Now the land seemed completely dead for Colin. He wandered over it the way Dan had done. He felt the way I had felt 31 years before. This country was too hard. I watched him, and I knew his despair. But I also knew something I had learned from Dan, that you couldn't stop hoping. Dan, why can't you be here now? We're starting again.